Welcome to the Apache Kafka tutorial with the Confluent Cloud streaming platform built by Confluent. So basically Confluent Cloud is a fully managed cloud native event streaming platform built by Confluent, the company founded by the creators of the Apache Kafka. Apache Kafka is an open source stream processing platform that is commonly used for building a real-time data pipeline and streaming application. Confluent Cloud provides a platform as a service solution for event streaming, allowing developers and organizations to harness the power of Apache Kafka without the need to manage the underlying infrastructure. So I have already created a account in the Confluent Cloud and started free trial. So if I log in with my email ID, you can see the Confluent Cloud dashboard. Here we have the environments, data portal, stream processing, and cluster 0 is created by default. So I will go to the environments. So in Confluent Cloud, the term environment typically refers to a logical isolation boundary within the platform where you can organize and manage your resources such as Kafka clusters, connected topics, and the other configurations. Environment in Confluent Cloud provide a way to separate defined workloads, teams, or use cases. So if I go to the environments, I can see a default clusters here. If I go inside the default cluster, so you can see we have those cluster listed. We have only one, that's why it's showing the cluster 0. If I go inside the cluster 0, so it can see the cluster overview. So in Confluent Cloud, a cluster refers to a fully managed instance of Apache Kafka that is provisioned and operated by the Confluent within the cloud environment. A cluster in Confluent Cloud provides the fundamental infrastructure for building real-time data pipelines, event stream application, and other stream processing use cases. Now in the cluster, you can see we have the API keys. So here we have the descriptions of the API keys. It consists of the key and the secret. Kafka API keys are required to interact with the Kafka cluster in the Confluent Cloud. So basically API keys are used to authenticate and authorize access to resources within a Kafka cluster. When you create a Kafka cluster in Confluent Cloud, you are provided with the API keys that can be used to interact with the cluster programmatically via the Confluent Cloud API. So I am going to create a API key. So I will go to create API key. And here we have the global access and the granular access. So basically the global access refers to the API keys that are granted permission to perform actions across the entire Kafka cluster or within a specific Confluent Cloud environment. These API keys are typically have broader permissions and can be used to manage resources at high level, such as creating or deleting topics, managing ACLs, access control lists, or scaling the cluster. And on the other hand, the granular access involves API keys that are used assigned specific permission to the perform only certain action on individual Kafka resource or topics within the cluster. These API keys have more restricted permissions and are scoped to particular resources. So I'm going to create a global access API key. So I'll go next. And here you can, and here I will be put the descriptions, global Confluent API key. And I will download and continue. So my API key is created. So here we have some help on this part, setting up client connectors. So I will skip this part. So our API key is created. Here you can see the owner, created, class modified, and the descriptions also. If you go inside API key, you can see the API key and secret is hidden. So you can show the secrets and can copy and use across the applications. And here we have the delete API key. You can also delete the API key. Now I will go to the topics and create a new topics in the cluster. So here topics is the category of feed name which records are stored and published. All the Kafka records are organized into topics. So basically in the context of Apache Kafka and Confluent Cloud, a topic is a logical channel or category to which messages are published by producer and from which messages are consumed by the consumer. Topic serves as a primary mechanism for organizing and categorizing data within the Kafka, facilitating the exchange of messages between different components of a distributed system. So the key points of the topics is managed message storage. Each message within the topic is uniquely identified by an offset which represents its position in the log. And next is the partitioning. Topics can be partitioned to allow for parallel processing and scalability. You also have the replication. Kafka topics can be replicated across multiple Kafka brokers to ensure fault tolerance and the high availability. Publish subscribe model. Topics follow a public subscribe message pattern where producer publish message to one or more topics and consumer subscribe to topics to receive message. And we have the retention policy. Topics can have configurable retention policy that determine how long message should be retained in the log. So I am going to create a topic. So I'll go to create, and the topic name I'll choose the name schema enabled. Schema enabled Airflow topic, and the partition I'll choose one for now and create with defaults. So it will create a schema for a message value. So I'll going to create a schema. So you can see our topics has been successfully created with the default setting. Now I am going to create a schema to enable schema in the topic. So in Confluent Cloud, a schema refers to the structure or format definition of the data being exchanged within the Apache Kafka topics. A schema defines the structure of the data payloads being produced and consumed by the Kafka messages. It includes information such as field name, data types, and any constants or validation applicable to the data. So I'm going to create schema, and here you can see we have the schema, JSON schema, Avro, and the protocol. So I will use the Avro schema. Here we have this structure of the schema. Here we have the name of the field name and type. Here we have three types. So I will use this here. Here we have int. So here I will put the ID, and in the double I will put the price, and in the name I will put the description. And I will validate this. So validation pass. Next I will create the schema here. So here you can see the schema. We have the fields. We have the name ID fields, type int, and we have the name price field with the double data type, and we have the descriptions. You can see also the JSON format here, and we have the schema ID. And if I go to the configuration of the topic, you can see the name partitions, and we have the retention bytes, retention milliseconds. So if I edit setting, here we have the by default retention time is 1 week. So basically after 1 week, the message in these topics will be deleted or will be removed. So it have the retention time of the 7 days. And if I switch to export, I can I can see the more settings of the topics. Go to the Schema Registry. So the Schema Registry is a component of Confluent platform that provides a centralized repository for storing and managing schema. It acts as a source of truth for schemas used in the Kafka topics and facilitates schema validation, versioning, and the compatibility check. So here we have the compatibility backward. And if I go inside the schema I created, so here we have used by the topic, these topics, and we have this schema with the schema ID. Now, if I go to the topic, so I will go here. I will go back. I will go environments, default clusters, cluster 0. And if I go to topics, here we have the topics, and we don't have any production and the consumption of the message. And the message we have there the empty message. Now I am going to create a new message to the topic according to the schema, which will contain the ID, price, and the description. So I will go to message, and here I will produce new message. Here I will put the ID, name, and price. So there will be ID. ID will be sample 001. And name I will put ID, price I will put 800.01, and next the description I will put here price of 1 liter olive oil. Now I will produce this message. So you can see it's showing me the invalid JSON. So now I will produce this message, and here you can see the message is produced with this but with this timestamp, and we have the value. We don't have anything in the header, so we have the offset and the partitions, and its schema is enabled. So we have the ID, price, and the descriptions field according to the schema. Now the same I will publish using the script, the Node.js script using. So that's all for this video. In the next video, we'll see how we can produce or the publish message to the topic which I created by using Kafka.js. Create the script or create a server with the Nest.js, and we will register schema, and we will create Kafka instance, and with the schema ID we will connect to the producer, and we will publish message. So please stick to this series, and if you like the video, please hit the like button, and please share my video, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.